Hey there YouTube, Tolstoy here. Gonna bring you a video review now of a handheld console that gained some popularity in Asia, but never gained popularity in America for the simple reason that it was never released here. Bandai, which makes a lot of Gundam models and kids' toys here in America, created something in Japan called the Wonderswan, which was a monochromatic black and white handheld that was made to compete with Game Boy and Game Boy Color. Then when the Game Boy Advance came around, the Wonderswan Color was introduced, and I managed to snag one off of eBay. Take a look at the box here. You've got Wonderswan Color in English, the Bandai logo down there, the color up here, which is crystal blue, and a little warning of law back here that reads, "For sale and use in Japan only, and commercial rental prohibited," which is kind of odd. But the majority of the box is the majority of the box's text is written in Japanese, which is fair because it wasn't released in America, and I suppose the Japanese do speak Japanese in Japan. Take a look inside the box. I think I'm doing this upside down. Here we go. Okay, inside the box it comes with this little pamphlet here, which looks like something you tear out of magazines. Comes completely in Japanese, so I can't read it. A manual, which has Wonderswan Color, the emblem there on the front in English, one or two letters and numbers in English, but all the diagrams and instructions there in Japanese. And then the actual console itself, which looks like this. Probably the first thing you'll notice if you see it and or hold it is that it is extremely small and light and razor thin. Not so much as the Game Boy Micro, but it's getting there. Take a look at the controls on the front. You have what looks like two directional pads, which I guess you kind of do. They're labeled X, which is at the bottom, and Y at the top. This is Y buttons 1 through 4, and X buttons 1 through 4 over here. A and B buttons, which, again, now A is on the outside and B is on the inside, as opposed to how the Neo Geo Pocket Color is set up. You have sound, start, and power. The sound is just a sound adjuster, which kind of works how modern backlit consoles do, adjusting the brightness. You go up one, lowest, up one, lowest, until you find the sound you feel comfortable with. The power button, I see a lot of power buttons these days on these kind of old retro consoles, as opposed to toggle switches, which I actually prefer. Let's see. On this side you have a contrast scroller, which I actually didn't notice until just this afternoon. The screen on this is not backlit, so contrast is kind of something odd that you'd want to change on a console like this. Over here you have a specialized port, which these things were sold sometimes with cables that would allow you to hook them up to PDAs and computers and cell phones for extra play, God knows why, but it looks like a specialized port that I'm sure Bandai was the only maker and seller of the cord that it would need to use with it. Wow, sentence structure, great today. On the back, you'll see the slot for where the cartridges would be going, and the battery holster. Interestingly enough, it only takes one battery, one AA, which is one less than what the Game Boy Advance would take. Let's see. What's kind of bad about this, though, is that to get the battery in there, you have to disengage a lock there and pull it off, put the battery inside this little plastic thing, and then slide it back on there, which it's a little fussy about, and that a lot of people end up losing hatches on these, handhelds. Like, a lot of people don't have the hatch on the Neo Geo Pocket Color or their Game Boys or something like that. Also, this little toggle switch down here, I originally thought it was power. I almost broke the stupid battery hatch because apparently it's a secondary lock that when you engage it would stop the battery from falling off, which is ridiculous that it has two locks instead of one or none at all. It does not activate unless you have a cartridge on the inside of it, which was alarming to me because when I first got it out I thought it was broken until I thought to myself, well, maybe you need to put a game in it for it to work. I went to a brick-and-mortar store which carries imports. I paid $50 for this, which, don't ask me why. At the time, I honestly thought that for some reason I got it in my head that they did not sell Neo Geo Pocket, or Wonderswan color games over eBay. I don't know why I thought that. Anyway, I ended up paying $50 for this, but I don't regret it because it wasn't my $50, and somebody owed me a favor. It says Terrorist 2 on the front. That's the game name. Most of the box is in Japanese, once again, because it was made for Japanese people. I'm actually working on getting some of this translated with a other user on YouTube, Snowplox, who is fluent in Japanese. We'll probably have some translations up on his website whenever. The game comes with an odd little bookmark sticker thing with some of the live-action characters on it. I'm not really sure why. And a manual that is mainly in, again, Japanese, aside from the English on the front, and some of the numbers on the back, which are English here. And way at the back of the manual, let's see if I can find it. Oh, crud. Here you go. Diagram of a cell phone being hooked up to one of these things. So there you go. I guess this game has that ability, but I don't have the cord, and I don't care. Okay, and then the game itself, which comes in this snazzy little container thing here. Kind of like that. That's what a cartridge looks like. Plug it into the back of your Wonderswan color. Now, what's kind of interesting about this is when you press power and start together, you get a little menu that asks you to input some personal data like your name, your blood type when you were born, and your sex. That's really extremely useless, but it's kind of interesting. Anyway, power off. Power on the game normally. You probably won't be able to see that, and it's really not worth adjusting the lighting so that you can see the screen simply because it's all in Japanese, and it's actually a text adventure game. I guess I didn't really read the box carefully before I bought it. I just needed a game to demo with. Anyway, are there any reasons for you to own one of these? Well, I got one because it was like $24, pretty cheap, for kind of a neat little piece to add to my collection of these rare handhelds. None of the games are in English. They never made any games in English. There's not a big homebrew scene for this, so there won't be a lot of games in English. No one's going to, make games for this, really. Especially because it didn't even get a lot of games even in Japan, because most business of handhelds around the time went to Game Boy Color, or not Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance. And, really, unless you speak fluent Japanese, and even if you do speak fluent Japanese, I mean, you probably already have a Game Boy Advance, which has far better games, well. Anyway, so no, there's no real reason to have one of these, except for, I don't know, just to say that you have one of these. There were some games that were ported to this because they were considered so important that they were ported to this, like Final Fantasy 1 and 2, but you can get that on the PSP now, and probably the Game Boy Advance anyway, so on this I say no, there's pretty much no reason to have this. Go ahead and skip it, but enjoy the review anyway.